So, as you guys may have seen in the title of this video, it says Kyle exposed. So, in an unseen footage clip, we see Erica telling the group in the season finale that Kyle said she was glad Kathy's meltdown was being discussed. So this was posted by Dane Galley, who posted another post from Mad Beats, who says Kyle set Kathy up confirmed. They should have included this clip in the original episode. I want Kathy to see this and never talk to Kyle again. Now, whatever Kathy decides to do with this information is whatever she decides to do with this information. I don't necessarily know that this was a setup on Kyle's behalf, just to clarify. But what I do want to point out is that Erica reveals that Kyle was actually glad that the meltdown was being discussed. Because in the clip, she says, and when they ask her about it, she says, because now everyone else gets to see what I have been dealing with. Okay. Which tells me that this relationship with Kyle and Kathy, as we have guessed, has been strained and estranged for years. Okay. For years. All right. So it's also interesting because in 1 second, it seems as though Kyle wants it being discussed behind the scenes. And when Erica brings this up, Kyle quickly chastises her for saying, I told you that off camera and that was in private. And Erica says, oh, I didn't know. Okay. It was supposed to be private. And Kyle is like, well, girl, if I told you in private, that means it's in private. Like, I mean, what are you thinking? And what I want to say is, Kyle, regardless of whether or not your sister goes off and spazzes out or not, Lord, please forgive me. Please forgive me. For the use of that word, because I have learned that particular word is offensive. So please, I'm correcting myself in this moment. Y'all, please forgive me. It has a different connotation in the US than it does in UK. So to my UK people, I apologize. I'm right off the bat. Kathy obviously flipped out. Allegedly. Okay. This happens often. However, according to Kyle, but what I want to say in this instance is that Kyle needs to be careful who she aligns herself with on this show, because it is clear to me that these girls are not her friends and they will turn on her in an instant in the interest of producing story. Okay? That's really what I wanted to clarify in this, with this whole bit of information that we have here. Now, I felt like I needed to address this first because it really does inform us in a different way about how we look at Kyle during the reunion. So all this crying that she's doing and stuff like that, we learned that there is a piece of her that's glad this was brought up. And I think that is important to the story. All right. Now, with regards to the episode, in terms of a reunion episode, let's rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to give it I'm going to give the part 1 an 8.5. Let me know in the chat what you guys would rate this episode. And I'm a little bit on the lower side because I do feel like the best part of the reunion was the very end, when Garcelle got activated. But I hated what she had to get activated for. I hated that no one said a word to in her defense or in anything. It just kind of like they just sat there silently. Now, I do feel like for some of the women, their silence is out of likely fear, okay, of the other women. But the reason I felt like I I Garcelle emoted what we have been feeling. And that to me was a big relief because I felt like we watch this show with a general sense of frustration, and we often feel like we don't see the frustration exude or emote from Garcelle in maybe the way that some of us want her to emote. And I can't blame her for always maintaining her composure because that is the definition of class. However, last night, I felt like I could feel her through the television, if you understand what I'm saying. The beginning of the reunion, I was mildly interested, but nothing major really came out. Okay. Now let me just say this. Shell, hello, miss, ma'am. Um, if you feel like I'm talking slow, I am talking deliberately because I am careful with what I say because words matter. Welcome to the channel, my dear. Meanwhile, anyway, as I was saying, um, there was really not a lot going on in the beginning that really gave me the feeling of an ooh and a ah. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into the reunion. All right. All right. So everybody's up at 6 a.m. getting ready to get glam. Renna is out first with her manila envelope. So we in this moment, when we see Lisa Rinna come out first with her manila envelope, we know that she is coming prepared to expose some things and she has her receipts ready. Okay. And then she lets us know as soon as the reunion starts that she's brought her little angel bird with her or whatever, like that. Some little bird, that she feels like, I guess, maybe represents her mom. Okay. Um, and you know, at that moment, she says the angels are protecting her. And the look on Kyle's face as Lisa Rinna is talking, I in my mind, I feel like no, it ain't the angels protecting you. It might be some executives or something, maybe allegedly. Okay, I don't know, but I don't know if it's angels. Okay, because the behavior that you have been exhibiting all season don't feel like nothing angelic to me. Okay. Um, we get into a discussion of the charities, the homeless, not toothless charity comes up or whatever. And then Andy brings out Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, okay, this was a delight, to see. I mean, I think we all enjoyed Jamie Lee Curtis, and but it did kind of feel like a promo for the Halloween movie that's coming out this weekend. It definitely gave me Marshall vibes. Okay, watch the Halloween ends on on the 14th on the Peacock or wherever the film may dwell. Okay, get it Peacock, NBC Universal, Bravo TV. It works in tandem. So nice little promo for the movie as it comes out. That's what it gave for me. Okay. Now, I'm not mad at it because, hey, it's your network. Let's do it. Bring out Michael Myers if you want to. You know what I'm saying? But that's just the vibe that it gave. Period. All right. Now, she gifts them all pumpkins with their names on it and whatnot. That was cute, you know. So then we kind of lightly touch on Garcelle's son getting, attacked online, and allegedly Garcelle's Playboy pictures were sent to him. Renna, we learned, was the first to speak out, and it comes up that all the ladies were getting harassed on social media. I think I think two things always have to happen when we're talking about a TV show. And let me come on the screen for this. I do think that there's a certain amount of fans and fan communities. We have to be able to react to the show. And I said this to Stormy in our interview yesterday. I said, to a certain degree, we have to have an outlet of release from what we see on the show because it's natural. So we're frustrated by the show. We end up getting first of all, let me say this, Vivian, if I talk too slow, speed up the video. Watch it later. Like, all this complaining, but you have a right to say what you want to say. And that's exactly my point. Okay? And let me also state this. If you feel like I'm speaking slow, there is a reason why I am thoughtful and careful, not clumsy, with my words. And that is mostly because the ladies on this show, one in particular, has become, or I should say, the environment surrounding the conversations about this show has become very litigious. And so, as a commentator, I have to be careful about what I say. If I am speaking at a rate that you don't like, there is an option on YouTube, you can watch it there, where you can speed up everything I'm saying by 0.5, 0.1%. You can watch me on Mickey Mouse mode for all that I care, but I'm not going to change anything that I am doing. And I don't need to have you blocked, but just understand that that's what it's going to be. All right? All right. The next complaint will go on and be unnoticed because I'm completely unbothered by it. And to be quite frank with you, as I'm expressing myself, I'm really uncovering my own thoughts about this as I speak about it. Again, you don't like it? Watch it later. Speed it up. So anyway, my bottom line is this. Reality TV stars have to also realize that fan communities have the right to express how they feel about what they see on the show. So the ladies cannot be as sensitive to that. For instance, when people watch my videos back, they oftentimes give me feedback that I didn't ask for. Okay. And that's fine too, because that's your God-given right to state your feelings. But I can also respond. Okay. So I just think that's important for these ladies to recognize, but it's never okay to harass or to send, nasty messages. And so that's really my point. I kind of want some of that to stop because I think it's unnecessary. The bots thing comes up, there's an investigation, and then the camera pans to Erica's face, which is kind of interesting. And Andy makes it a point to say that Bravo does not condone this type of behavior. All right, so the next thing we get into is Dorit's robbery. All right. Let me go back to the super chats before I jump into that because I want to make sure that I acknowledge them. Natalia says, I remember Lisa said Kathy was throwing things in the house. If Kathy's husband was there, how come that wasn't mentioned? So he didn't see that. That's weird. Excuse me. Natalia, I had somebody else mention that to me as well, and I thought that was kind of odd too. Like, if things were being broken and all this kind of stuff like that, wouldn't everybody have noticed by the time they got home that, glass or whatever else was broken or something like that? That's kind of interesting to me. Also, too, Bruce says, if these random people don't leave, thank you, Bruce. Don't come in. Like, it's just, sometimes you just gotta, y'all know I don't even like to come out of character like that, but it's sometimes people just be like, you just notice stuff in the chat, you be like, did you really say that? Get out of here. Anyway, Dorit's robbery comes up. You know, Andy gets bored in this section. He is stifling a yawn. Dorit basically has to ask the man, am I boring you? And the problem with Dorit is I feel like Dorit is maybe perhaps a little long-winded when she is speaking about, her own things about herself. This has been a constant thing for the ladies in Dorit, and Andy yawned when she was talking last season's reunion. He yawned again when she was talking this season. So I think that really is going to dictate just about how much time we'll spend on Dorit and her robbery. But the interesting thing was he did bring up that a lot of people did not believe that or believe that she staged her own robbery, which she actually denies. All right. So then we get into this is also interesting. Whoever robbed Kyle, they sent her photos of the items that they stole, and they wanted her to buy the items back. And Erica calls it like it is. Like, girl, that's a shakedown. Okay. That's pretty much a shakedown. And apparently she did pay for some of the items, I guess maybe because they were like priceless. But my thought is, how do you do that? Like, how do you isn't that like paying a kidnapper? Like, how do you arrange the payment? How does that work? I wish she would have gone into more detail about that. We get into Crystal's youthful package and the word violated comes up. The eating disorder comes up as well. She discusses why she went public with her eating disorder, and Andy asks essentially if she was purging when Sutton walked in on her. And she says no, but as I kind of figured, Sutton walking in on Crystal had more to do with the fact that maybe Crystal was unclothed and felt uncomfortable about someone else seeing her body. And she does confirm that this was about body dysmorphia, okay? So then it was asked why Kyle thought it was okay to bring up her eating disorders and in conjunction to Crystal's, but it was not okay when Sutton did the same thing with Diana. And of course, Kyle blamed it on the alcohol, okay? And says that when she said it all wrong. And it's like, why don't you just apologize? And why didn't we address Kyle tugging and a pushing and a putting her hands all up on Sutton? Now, to me, that's a violation right there, because you are all up in this woman's personal space, touching on her, yanking her around like a rag doll. But we didn't get that addressed at all last night, and so I'm kind of like, I mean, where was the genuine apology to Sutton? All right. So then Andy asked about why would you tell Crystal that about these laxatives when the girl is telling you about her eating disorder? Erica, to me, like, if there's ever a point where I feel like I'm trying to like her, maybe because she says one thing that makes sense, it's like there's always a new reason to dislike her. In this conversation, she says, oh, no, that's what I would do. Andy has to tell this woman, what you're saying is unhealthy, okay? You are basically suggesting to someone that you would take laxatives for your eating disorder, okay, if you had one. All right. And Erica has all the excuses. Okay. Well, I used to dance and I used to do this. And then he goes in about her telling her not to eat the chicken nuggets. And Erica's like, yeah, I did it. It was the wrong thing to do, I think. I mean, well, kind of. Who knows? Who cares really? That's how I felt about what she was saying in that moment. It really it was given who cares. It was given it ain't that serious to me. It was given it's her problem, not mine. It was given insensitive. Okay. Um, Angela, thank you for the super chat. You keep being you. I love your channel. You are doing great. Or maybe I'm slow. Maybe the rest of us are slow. I don't know. Okay. So then it comes up, how did Crystal feel when Dorit brought up that she was, purging every day? All right. Because Dorit let that out to the group. So Crystal tells her, girl, it was not okay. And Dorit is looking at Crystal like Crystal has two heads. Like, how dare you be mad at me for exposing what you do in the privacy of your bathroom? Okay. We were at a table and it just, it just stuff comes up that you might have told me when when you was in private. But girl, I didn't think it mattered that I told people verbatim how your eating disorder works. I was like, Dorit, you are like the amount of hypocrisy that comes out of these women's mouths. Dorit was upset at Sutton for having press at her own event because Dorit feels like, well, girl, no. I mean, I need to know if press is coming, and you shouldn't have press at your event to get press for your event because I'll be there. Girl, if you don't avoid that press line, okay, I'm sure that you could have gotten in the back. Then Dorit also was upset because after the robbery, Sutton is having margaritas. Well, it might have been Taco Tuesday, okay? Everybody's life does not stop because you have trauma, and that's the honest to God's truth, okay? For some people, they will still need to live. That's the issue with trauma, though, in general, okay? What you're facing in that moment is your journey, okay? And while I can be empathetic to your journey, I'm not experiencing your journey. You need to tell me what you need from me. But what I can't do is stop living my life as a person who is outside of the trauma. I can't stop doing what I need to do because you are also suffering. That's the honest to God's truth. I can help you where you allow me to, but I cannot stop living. Period. So it's interesting to me that she understands her trauma, but she does not understand the nuance of Crystal's own experience. It's kind of crazy right now. Like, that just boggled my mind that the person who was just crying and expressing her emotions about what happened to her can't have the level of sensitivity to even digest that this woman is in tears because of something you did. How does that work? It come then the dark. Oh Lord, the dark comments come up, okay? Okay, here's the thing. The bottom line that I took away from this conversation, because I am in no way, shape, or form going to be able to get this completely correct to recap the exact verbiage in the way that it came out of these ladies' mouths. However, what I gleaned from this situation is there was a conversation between Sutton and Crystal where Sutton said, my white child is in the pool. There are 2 black children here. There is an Asian child here and a red-headed child there. Here a child, there a child, everywhere a child. To Crystal, something in that was offensive. What it is, I don't know. I cannot tell Crystal not to be offended. I cannot. But what I also need Crystal to do is just, to me as a viewer, I just need you to be a little bit more specific that and just stand 10 toes down in it. The conversation offended me. Okay? You wasn't there. I was offended. Period. That's the only thing I can glean from this conversation. Crystal's offended. Sutton says something. Crystal was offended. Period. Now, the rest of it that was said that was so dark, I felt like Crystal should have just said it. Girl, she said it was all the different kids in the pool, and that I ain't like it. I ain't like it, not one bit. If she had said that, okay, then at least we could have had some clarification, okay? Because I leave this conversation about the dark comment as confused as I was before we had the conversation, okay? That's all I know. They get to Sutton. Sutton is a woman that has been so beat down by this group, mostly Lisa Renner, okay, Kyle and Erica Jane, that she just knows, you know what? I only got like 2 friends on this cast, Crystal and Garcelle. I just want this thing to be over with and done, and I don't want nobody to call me a racist. Just please, Lord, don't let it be said, okay? And I just feel like Sutton has been so beat down. She just is like, girl, just, we over it. Let it go, let it go, let it go, okay? Which you also have to respect. But Lisa and Eric are like, well, how do you make this okay? How do you make this okay? No, we need to drag this out like I'm doing Kathy Hilton, okay? And Crystal does rightly say, we have moved past it. Why don't you let us move past it? We are not you, okay? We may be confusing to y'all, but that's us. Leave us alone, and y'all do y'all thing over here. Cause ain't nobody bothering you about this Kathy thing. You leave me and mine alone about what we had going on. I don't know. I'm just giving you a layman's view of what I seen last night, because I don't understand it all. All right. And you know, I'm trying not to be clumsy with my words today. Because we talking about sensitive subjects here. I just want to reiterate that. Like we talking about stuff that's dealing with race and lawsuits and threats and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? This ain't your everyday silly housewives fights. These are some deep issues that we talking about, okay? Deep, dark level conversations or allegedly dark conversations. So I just kind of feel like I be triggered every time I watch an episode. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if I'm talking slow, now that I think about it, y'all gonna have to work with me today. Okay. And it ain't gonna change. So anyway, Kyle's dramatic millennial comment comes up. All right. Well, Andy does kind of call Crystal to the carpet, and he's like, well, listen, girl, the reason why this is a thing is because we spent 3 episodes trying to figure out what you was talking about. So anyway, Dorit calls Crystal out for saying she was trying to make herself look good after Garcelle confronted her, so she ended up throwing Sutton under the bus. Kyle's dramatic millennial comment comes up, and it was because of the word violated. And I'm like, oh my God, these semantics are just irking me. So then Crystal says, didn't you say you felt violated when someone robbed your house? And I'm like, Crystal, yeah, I would think that might be a violation. Now I don't know. That might be a violation right there. Okay. Um, and Kyle is like, yeah, I mean, they robbed my house. They didn't bring me a jacket. Sutton was bringing you a jacket, girl. Anyway, they go out it about Kyle not getting to know Crystal better, and Kyle basically says the girl lies. I mean, oh Lord. Then the Michael Jackson thing comes up. Lord have mercy. So y'all can tell me in the chat how y'all feel about Michael Jackson. But for me, if y'all tell me if I'm wrong, okay? Read me if I'm wrong. But I still listen to my Michael Jackson, okay? I was playing The Way You Make Me Feel earlier, okay? Now, and if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Y'all, because listen, I ain't got all the answers. I ain't got all the answers. But based on also what they were saying last night, and per the news, okay, Michael beat those allegations. So the unproblematicness of Michael Jackson comes from an allegation that was beaten. I don't get that. Crystal, you lost me at that one, okay? Because I'm about to play Thriller when I get off this live. All right. Because you can't top this. All right. You cannot top that. So if I'm wrong, I don't want to be right. Anyway, Bina says, Crystal is too sensitive for me, and I do believe she's a liar. Her story has changed since she came to the show. Crystal is nobody's friend, can't trust her at all, and why Michael Jackson is a problem. I don't know. I didn't get that one, but I mean, maybe it's just me. I don't know. Anyway, the Crystal and the 14 friends come up, okay? This is why you shouldn't have a whole lot of friends. Number one, all right? Let me not say that because I don't want to tell y'all not to have a big group of friends. What I will tell you is that I feel like my life became simpler when I had less friends, okay? Peep that. Now there are lots of people that I like, that I am cool with, but when we talking about a deep level of we talking about friendship here, okay? And maybe that rejection was God's protection, Crystal. I mean, you might want to look at it like that. I mean, I don't know, that's what I'm thinking. But that's just me as an older person saying this and having learned the hard way. Okay, Tara C, I love Michael Jackson too. I mean, the way you make me feel. You know what I'm saying? Keep the circle small. You know what I mean? Because you have less problems when you have less people in your circle. Okay. Anyway, Kyle really, I don't know what it was. I wish that Kyle had the energy for Lisa and Erica that she has for Crystal, who she barely knows. Okay. Kyle has heard. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Crystal, when you tell us a story, I need you to be specific. Your story cannot change. Okay. You have got to say the same thing every single time you say it. You have got to articulate yourself to the letter about times, dates, when they stop talking to you, why they stop talking to you. Because if something sounds different, okay, then you said it 2 seconds ago, then they're gonna call you out because it's confusing. Okay. Again, two things can be true. Kyle seemed like she had a bone to pick with Crystal because she was not letting her stiletto up off of Crystal's neck, and Crystal was having this to snap back on her, which I didn't mind. Okay, If I'm gonna be real about it. But Crystal, I need you to be very specific when you speak. I need you to articulate your thoughts in a way that is not confusing to the listener. Because I want to understand what you are experiencing, but it is very difficult as a viewer sometimes because it seems sometimes inconsistent. That's my thought. King Jones says it was Kyle saying this is very confusing, and Crystal saying, "Are you confused?" Duh, she just said that. Their whole exchange was very intense to me. I was like, "What's happening here?" Um, I'm laughing at Joel Amari. I mean, I felt like she had a point too, but again, keep that same energy for everybody. Okay. All right. So now we get to the craziness right here. Diane shows up. Ooh. Apparently, Diane is very, very sick. Okay. I cannot tell if Diana is sick because I cannot tell by her facial movements or lack thereof as I see it on the screen. So it's very hard to tell what is going on with her. But if she says she's sick, I believe it. Okay. Andy asked about all the cease and desist that she's been sending out. Okay. For those who did not see the episode and did you hear? Okay. She's been sending out cease and desist. About her allegedly, okay, about it. I don't even feel like saying it but Andy asked her specifically about sending out cease and desist about allegations of her being a madam and the book being a catalog of call girls. That's what Andy asked her, okay? She says that the accusations are not true. Did she know the Jeffrey person? Okay. And for those of you who know what I'm talking about, it ain't Dahmer. All right. She says she never met that man. All I gotta do is take one good look at Garcelle to know that Garcelle is completely over this woman. Okay. Um, it's asked why she lick her lips so much. Okay. And she say it's a nervous tick. All right. What you nervous about? So then he asked about her beef with Philly Diva. Is Philly Diva in the chat today? I don't know. I can't tell. And a lot of people, I'll get to that in a second though. But if Philly Diva's in the chat, hey boo, because they brought you up last night. Okay. The whole beef that Diana got into with the black content creator and how it must be difficult to be a black content creator or whatever she said. I'm paraphrasing because I ain't got the post right in front of me. Anyway, Diane said that she thought it was a reference to the dark web. Okay. And so Crystal ends up backing her up. Okay. Because Crystal apparently called her out on it and she thought it was something to do with the dark web. Okay. I don't even know what we talking about dark web. Like, where are we going with this? Anyway, Toya says Diana seems to be having an interpretation of language issue out of convenience. Garcelle operated in grace with her issuance text threats. Okay, Toya. Okay. Andy then asked Diane about people being so passionate about her being so passionate about these victims of the Lion Air flights, and if she actually did donate. And what's Erica's reaction to it? Erica says, "Well, no, for Diane, Erica didn't have a problem with it. To me, it seems like Erica is kind of far up the crevices of Diane's, um, backside. It just feels like it gives, she got money. I like money. You know what I'm saying? That's what it gives on the screen. That's how it reads to me. But that's just me and my interpretation of the scenes as they play out. Okay. So anyway, Diane says she felt like she couldn't be a part of the storyline and not do something about it because she's rich. Okay. Um, Again, I can't tell if she's being smug or not because I don't know what her face be doing. Anyway, Andy asked if she was behind the bots attacking Garcelle's son. And did Garcelle think she was behind it? Yes, Garcelle did think she was behind it. Diana says, then you obviously have a low opinion of me if you think I would bully a 14-year-old. Garcelle says, yeah, I did. So then, as Diane tries to interrupt Garcelle says, can I finish speaking, please? She also sent me a threatening text. Now, we're going to get to the threatening text, but first, we have this other issue that we got to deal with. When Jax responded to the last threatening text message about the knee in the neck, he reposted it. In that repost, it contained Diana's name because whoever made the post referenced leaving Diana alone. Diana wanted Garcelle and her son to pencil out, okay, Diana's name. Okay. So she should have, okay. So if Diane's name, all right, was in the threatening message, we see Diane's name. When he reposted it, they wanted Garcelle and her son to then go back in and take a whiteout pen, okay, or a pencil, all right, and then do like this, okay, all right, and then repost the message stating that the person had gone too far. Who cares about all that? Okay, who cares about it? At the end of the day, if you didn't send them there, it doesn't matter. He is talking to the person that wrote the message. He is not talking to you, Diana. It doesn't make any sense to me. And so then Kyle chimes in, well, maybe you could have, maybe you could have just taken your whiteout pen and just, penciled it out and, took her name out of the equation. And Garcelle finally, in my opinion, it is all the rage of all the little microaggressions and things that she has had to deal with. And she just kind of snapped and she said, now, hold on a minute, girl. You want me to take time away from trying to protect my son to start to protect all of y'all? Are you kidding me right now? And then that Jane girl gonna pop her mouth open to say, you don't have to protect me. No one cares about it. Okay, this has nothing to do with you. Go away. Go do your hair. Sell some bundles. Nobody's talking to you right now. Always inserting yourself into something when you don't want people talking about your issues or you are very interested always in inserting yourself in somebody else's drama when you could just sit there, shut up, and be quiet. Thank you for that super chat, Virginia. I appreciate you. So the irony here also is that Diane is less concerned with what is being said to Garcelle's son. And she is more concerned with the image that someone would associate her with it. So it's no longer about Garcelle's son. It is about you. Okay. Kyle is not thinking about Garcelle's son. She's thinking about Diana. Oh, okay. I get it. King Jones says Garcelle didn't waver, shake, or fold, not nan, especially when it came to Kyle. She said, Diana paused. She did. She literally said, now hold on, let me deal with you. Okay. So then we find out exactly what the threatening text message was that Diana sent to Garcelle. It says, believe me when I say, if anything happens to my children, you will be held legally responsible and no Bravo contract will stop me. I guess by making Cherie take down my birthday post, you wanted to solidify me as a blank and actually ruin my life. Girl, can't nobody ruin your life but you. Okay? Period. And the fact of the matter is, to me, and this is for Cherie, if you see that your friend that brought you to this show is suffering and going through it at the hands of multiple posts by this woman, Diane, who you don't know from Adam, you shouldn't be posting her at all. So if Garcelle did make her take it down, I don't blame her. Okay, you should have taken it down willing. The fact of the matter, you never should have posted it because you knew what the temperature of the room was anyway. If and I know Miss Cherie is an empathetic person because when I see Miss Cherie, she be talking to the Lord. Okay, so I know if she's talking to the Lord, she's got to be empathetic to what Garcelle, her friend, is going through. So then Diana goes on to say, okay, I've been threatened. I have been to a country where I have been threatened. And when people, and she then downplays the threats to Jax by saying, where I'm from, threats really mean something. Oh, okay. So if that's the case, then we should go to Exhibit B, okay? Because when we go back and we reflect on some of the things that Diana has said, as per articles stating, the articles I'm reading from are the insider.com, okay, as well as the Daily Mail. So Miss Diane, if you have an issue with something that was posted, you head on over there, okay? Because as they point out in the episodes, at one point during the conversations, Jenkins told Strack, do you want me to headbutt you? Okay. She used similar language in a previous episode too while describing an altercation with Strack to co-stars Kyle Richards and Dorit Kemsley. She could have gotten headbutted. The Daily Mail says Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Diana Jenkins says Sutton Strack could have gotten headbutted. So then when I circle back to the episode and hear you say, okay, where you come from, a threat actually means something. Tell me what these words mean then, okay? Are you going to headbutt someone, or what was that in reference to? My thought is this. If everyone would leave out these types of conversations, if you leave it out from the show, Erica, don't be cursing at Garcelle's son. Diana, don't talk about headbutting on TV. Then some of that would translate to could potentially maybe translate to less of it happening on social media, because as we know, and if you live in the spiritual realm, energy transfers from one space to another, and words also mean something. So let's stop it across the board. All right. Andy has to then ask Garcelle, if Diana was here, what would you say to her? Garcelle says, why are you so obsessed with me? So Diana, in a moment of being, I don't know, flippant, okay, decides to say, because you're gorgeous. All right. But Andy realizes that Garcelle is being very serious in this moment. And Garcelle has to tell her, you've been coming after me on social media, all right? And then sometimes it's been twice a day. And so then Andy and so as Diane is looking so confused, like, oh my, what are you talking about? Andy is like, you've been coming after her on social media. Garcelle at that point has to ask the question that I think we all want at this point in time from Diane. Girl, I just want you to leave me alone, okay? I just want you to leave me alone. We do not hate you, but we all just want you to leave us alone.